section from Advov, second section. And the number of lines down is 6 lines down. The line that gives the word marê kocho. And the being explained that in oir there is the union that's called oir me'ein hamoir. The oir carries the moir element aspect, and as we have already discussed, this is a completely different thing. Moir means the essence, something that initiates itself. That's what moir. Oil has a function. Oil is not defined by moir is not defined by a function. But then we say this is uniquely in oil, but in shefa also there is something resembling this in it. Not the same thing, but it resembles it. In that, in shefa there is the element of the etzem recognizable from the way the shefa is produced. It's called the fi'oifon ha'etzem. The shefa is produced the fi'oifon ha'etzem, reflective of the what kind of etzem it is. And the line, as you said, the line begins from the word marê kocho. The etzem is marê kocho behashpa. The etzem displays, shows, reveals its koyach through the hashpa. Even though he is mashpia, REBBE is mashpia the sechel. He's not mashpia himself like in oir. He's not mashpia himself. He's mashpia sechel. But in his hashpah of sechel is reflected what type of mashpia, where does the sechel come from? What kind of koyach, what kind of source is it? Marê kocho b'hashpah, he reveals, he demonstrates his koyach in the hashpah. The same sechel produced by a superficial chacham is a completely different sechel than a sechel produced by a deeply thinking, by a conscious chacham. It's the same sechel. But the depth and the clarity and the expense of the sechel is totally different coming from a great chacham than coming from a narrow chacham. In this respect, this is fi'oifon ha'etzem. So there is the etzem element carried along, displayed, and revealed in the sechel, to the hashpah of the sechel. Now we're going into parentheses.
What does exactly mean lefi oifen?
What?
What does exactly mean lefi oifen?
According to the way, according to the type of etzem it is, according to his way. The fi'oifen means according to the way he does everything else. In other words, his general condition, his general personality is recognizable in his hashpah. You have a guest in your home. and you're serving him lunch. And the lunch is, you make sure that he should not walk out of the house hungry. Be perfectly, totally satisfying. In the way you serve it to him, and how and what you produce in this lunch, can be recognized. You give me a lunch. No. What kind of person are you? Are you a generous person, or are you a calculated person? This is not what the lunch is about. Lunch is lunch, but the personality of the person is identifiable in everything that he does. This is mitlifiei von Herzen. Some people, generous people, will serve their guest. If the guest empties his plate and nothing left over, he feels bad.
You fill the plate again.
What?
You try to fill the plate.
No, he doesn't. It's not the guest that he says, I had enough.
Oh.
But the fact that he had just enough,
Uh-huh.
there was no overflow, bothers him. Because his generosity, he serves with overflow. This is the concept of the Fiei von Herzen. And Bas Sechel is the same thing. Somebody who is a broad sechel, you can tell what is the source of this sechel. Even though the sechel is a sechel. Both are presenting the same idea. This is all to understand in contrast to Oy Mein Hamoyer. Oy Mein Hamoyer means something completely different. There's a similarity, but it's a different thing. Let's go into the parentheses. The be'emes, for in truth, zehu, this inyan, that the etzem is involved in the production of the chokhmah. Even the chokhmah comes from chokhmah, but the etzem itself is involved in production of chokhmah. And we're saying that it's reflected in how it produces chokhmah, what kind of chokhmah it produces. Zehu, this is lifi etzem koyach chokhmos hanelemes. This chokhmah is reflective of chokhmah. He is giving chokhmah, but it's reflective of the etzem koyach chokhmah hanelemes, the chokhmah that is concealed and hidden. What is this? Hanelemes means the concealed chokhmah. Ne'alemes, the word concealed, there's the only way for us to translate it, because it doesn't mean ne'alemes, it's concealed, it's hidden by an effort of the mashpia to hide it. It is in essence ne'alam. It is not a chokhmah that can be expressed, not even to himself. This is what's called the etzem koyach chokhmah. We'll talk about it in a few moments. Let me just get into this. The leviyei von kozeh, when according to this, of this manner, the way the chokhmah is ben helem in its essential state, and it's in its concealed state. According to this, marê kocho, this is how he shows his koyach. Hey b'haskaloso liatzmi. In both versions, in how he understands the chokhmah to himself, and also in how he gives it over to the zulus. This in that the koyach ha-chokhmah, the koyach ha-mashpia, is demonstrated in producing the chokhmah. This is due to the koyach ha-chokhmah ha-ne'elemes, to the koyach ha-chokhmah that is internal to him, ne'elemes, that cannot be seen externally. Again, it's not that it's concealed. It conceals itself. It is not revealable. The mashal for us to identify with this is we have a human being. A human being walks. A human being, as you said, walks is the simplest, lowest level, and it's a good place to focus in. A human being walks, and he comes into a room. He doesn't walk into a table; he walks around the table. Lahabdul, a cat also walks around the table. There's a fundamental difference between these two avoidance of hitting it, of obstacles. Fundamental difference. By the human being, this is due to his intelligence. By the cat, it is a completely different thing. He avoids it because he cannot go through this, not because it is the right way to go. A human being identifies the right way, this is how it's set up, and the right way to go is around. The cat goes around because it cannot go to the wall. It's forced that way, not because it understands that this is the way to go. This is representative of the fundamental, so to speak, basic principle of human intelligence. Human intelligence is not only when you figure out things and you invent things. Human intelligence is the entire existence is absorbed, is recognized from in an intelligent manner. This is called chokhmah ne'elemes. It does not express itself. There's nothing to express. You cannot teach this aspect of chokhmah, of intelligence. You can teach how to walk, but you can't teach this perception. The chokhmah ne'elemes that cannot be taught. It cannot be expressed. This chokhmah ne'elemes, this is the buttress, this is the basis of human chokhmah. I will say, the expression is, it makes sense. It makes sense does not mean this is I can prove it. It makes sense means it appeals to me because from an intelligent perspective. Nothing to do with the practicality of it. It is not something that's being proven, something that is being enforced. It is the innate human intelligence This is called Chochma Hanel Lemes. This subtle Kirach Chochma. This subtle Kirach Chochma is the, so to speak, the etzem Kirach Chochma. All Chochma is substantiated by this Kirach Chochma Hanel Lemes. It's called Etzem Koich HaChochma. This is called Etzem Koich HaChochma. This is Koich HaChochma which is not observed, it is not learned, it is not acquired by practice. This is the Koich HaChochma of the human Koich HaChochma, the human intelligence, that distinguishes human being from an animal. As an example. No matter how much instruction and training he will give the animal, he will never get that aspect. This is what's called an essence. The lefi oifun kozeh. Okay, I said that. Reflective. If I mean reflective in the Koyach Chochma and the El Lemes, this is how he will display his sechel. This is how he will approach to understand sechel for himself, and this is how he will approach to explain sechel to others. When he approaches to explain sechel to himself, he looks at it not, does this make sense? Can I prove this? He approaches it from a completely different angle. What is the basic reality of this? What is the intelligence of this? How come it's here? The similar thing he gives to the mushpa. He gives to the mushpa, when he teaches the chochma from a perspective, not that he can prove this chochma, but the source of chochma. It makes sense. This is right. You understand it, and it is right that you understand it. This is the source of the chochma, and he is mashpia. And here is where the Rebbe is pointing out the difference between the way it is in Hashpo and Koyach Chochma and in Oir. Here are straightforward words, and I hope we will catch on to this. The Harei, behold. Again, about Harei, I'm pointing out, Harei means behold. It's something that you should be able to, you should have, should be privy to without having to identify it. Harei, Gile HaChochmas. The presentation, the reading of Chochmas may etzem koyach chochmos hanelamis. The way it is revealed from the source and the essence of the koyach chochma hanelamis, that is stays concealed. He says it's an undertone of chochma. He is chochma that is revealed, and it's coming from a subtle inyan of chochma. What is the relationship between these two, the source and the result? So even though the Chochma is Gilui, revealed itself from the Koyach Chochma, from the Etzem Koyach Chochma and the Lemes, follow these words. Even though it comes from the Ein Zeh, however, it is not Bivchinas. This Gilui is not in a manner of Gilui HaHela Mamash. It is not in a manner of revealing the Helam, the actual Helam, the way the real, the fundamental element of human intelligence. This is not what it reveals. It's coming from there, but that's not what comes forth. He is not really presenting the the essential intelligence, even though this is its source. Here is, so to speak, clearly the nail on the head, clearly what the difference is. It is not Gili HaHela Mamash. It is not the actual revelation of the Helam, that which is the undertone of Chochmah, the essential intelligence. Hainu, which would mean then Me'in Ha'etzet. Then it would mean that the Chochmah is Me'in Ha'etzet. But this is not what happens. It's not. This is the source of it, but it's not what happens. The etzem is not revealed. How come the etzem is not revealed? If this is the source, why do we say that it's not Gili Ha'etzem, Gili HaHela Mamash? Why do we say that it's not the Gili HaHela Mamash? Sheharei, for behold. We thought that we got it packed. No, it's another step completely. Sheharei, for behold, ha'etzem hu, the etzem of this chokhmah is rag hiyuli. Is only a hiyuli. It is not a presence of chokhmah, a presence of anything. It is a hiyuli. The only way I can translate hiyuli for our purposes, that which makes it possible. Okay. That which makes it possible. It is not a substance itself. That chokhmah is a hiyuli. This hiyuli aspect, it makes it possible. That is what makes the distinguished human being from the animal level. Without there being any identifiable knowledge, he is an intelligent creature. The hiyuli is what distinguishes the human being from the animal. The animal you also can train and show him how to do things. But he's never going to get the hiyuli. A non-entity you cannot transfer. The hiyuli is not a non-entity. Umushlo, it's completely negated. The word mushlo is shlila, negation. It's cleared off. It's completely clear of mimtzio sechel, from any presence of sechel. There is not a tangible or identifiable element of sechel in the hiyuli. And it's completely Muslim Mitzvah Sechel. And yet, his galos who Sechel. What comes forth is Sechel. But that which comes forth, the source of this Sechel is not a Sechel. And yet, it is Sechel that's going to come out. He's not going to act like an animal, even though there's no Sechel there. Why not? What prevents him from acting like a sechel of like an animal? He doesn't have a sechel, doesn't have any argument why you should act in a certain way. So there's no mitzvah of sechel. But there's the essence of the hiyuli of sechel. So pretty that you don't have much time. Well, maybe finish it tomorrow. But here's a very important point.
PALTIEL, can I ask a question?
Baruch, please.
Sorry.
Okay. Here's a very important point. He can prove sechel, he can show things, etc., etc. He can invent things, he can build things, and so forth. The essence of sechel, the real source of it all, the real buttress that makes it stay, that causes it to be pursued, is none of these things that are being produced.
PALTIEL, what's buttress?
Held up.
Huh?
Held up.
Held up? Okay.
None of these things. What is it? There's a truth. There's a right way of doing things. This right and wrong is not based on any kind of argument. And it's not a right way of doing things. Let me try and put it in some kind of a perspective. I think this may expose it. Being in a home, you're in somebody's home. You have a home, a house, or whatever it is. There are two distinct aspects in your observation. One is how the beauty of the house, the comfort, the furnishings, everything that comes along with it. You see all this. Then there is a completely different dimension in this whole thing. These different, all of these things that you identified is how you could use this. You understand it from your perspective. There's a different dimension completely. The dimension is that all of this was conceptualized and made by somebody, by a human being. It was made with a certain intent. This has nothing to do with how it reflects itself, how it reflected in your usage. This is not due to your personal relating to it. This is the projection and understanding the basis, the source of all this. Somebody conceptualized it. And this somebody conceptualized it because he perceived there's a value to this. This value is totally hiyuli, it's not an intangible thing.